Okay, we're back with my vlog,
Yeah.
living the best life in retirement, and this is a best example of living the best life in retirement.
Yeah.
This is part 5 of my mum's story, her life story, on a vlog, and today it's a bit overcast. I'm coming to the end of my trip here, so it's full steam ahead. And we're going to talk about the 1960s. We've got a drink.
Yeah.
It's raining, not very nice. So
it was a good day to do this.
yeah, it is a good day to do this. All right.
Mm.
So let's talk about the 1960s. What happened in our life and your life in the 1960s? You had 4 children.
Yeah.
We talked about them in the last vlog.
Yeah.
But what was it like?
It was quiet in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had no TV.
No.
So the children used to go across to a family that we were friendly with, and they had
6 kids.
6 children.
6 kids. Yeah.
And my 4, as they used to say, come across to us and watch it. So they did.
What did we used to watch?
Popeye.
Popeye the Sailor Man.
Yeah, which didn't last very long, but it gave me a bit of a time to whiz around and do things. But one day I came over and they'd been watching Popeye, and one of them said, "Why can't we have sugar butties?" What? And nearly hit the roof.
Do you want to explain what a butty is?
A sugar butty was white bread spread with butter and then sprinkled with a load of sugar.
And butties is a north of England.
It's a north of England expression, of course.
Butties.
Yeah,
It's a sandwich.
Yeah,
sugar sandwich, sugar butties.
Yeah. Well, that wouldn't go, not with my idea of diet. So that was it. I bought a black television, just a little black one, that's all. But it was enough. Got them back home.
But you aspired for us to read instead of watching
Oh, that
TV.
I did indeed. That was the reason. But and then I didn't really think that I should impose on the neighbours like that. And I thought, yeah, I'll get them a television. And
yay!
they used to
black and white TV.
Yeah.
Which used to only come on in the evenings. There was no breakfast TV or anything like
Oh no, there was just a children's program. I can't.
And we were really posh, weren't we? Because we had a telephone.
We had the only telephone
in the street,
in the whole circle as well.
Yeah.
And which was very nice because Jim worked away a lot, sometimes 2 weeks at a time, and so he was allowed to have the phone. Nobody else could have one. So of course it was a case of people coming in and saying, would you ring would you ring my daughter, or ring my son, or my friend, or they'd say, will you go round and tell them I can't come because it's very wet, it's raining, it's not too wet for you to come out.
So we used to send those kids around.
Well, not just the kids, I did as well, yeah.
Yeah, and we'd get drenched for them to say, oh, it's raining. No, just tell them it's raining, I'm not coming out. Yeah,
I know, but...
and we had a little money box.
But nobody ever put anything in.
Hope that somebody would put a threepenny bit in there to pay for the call, but no.
Yeah.
And they used to stay an hour or so sometimes, weren't they, talking?
Well, not an hour. Some of the old people did.
Yeah.
They used to come and say, will you ring the doctor?
Yeah.
And I'd say, yes, okay. And I'd get through and the doctor would say, who is it? And I'd say, oh, Mrs. Matz. Sometimes. Mrs. Matz isn't feeling very well. Oh, what does she look like? Well, she says she's not very well. Oh, tell her to take an aspirin.
And she used to say, I feel pastry.
Oh, that's yeah. That meant pale.
Pale. I feel pastry.
Yeah. See, she was the colour of pastry, she said.
Telling the doctor that.
So the doctor said, oh, tell her to take 2 aspirins.
I'm not very good of him.
Yeah.
So
it was a busy life in that respect as well.
So what was it like being a housewife in the 1960s?
Well, there was no washing machine. Everything was done by hand. Some people, lucky people, had a dolly tub, which was like a big wooden, sometimes wooden, big container, which you put water in, and you turned it round, and you got that. It was really like you made the action of the next washers.
Yeah.
So
the twin tubs.
Yeah. So
didn't we have? I remember helping you when all the kids were at school. I was the one left at home because I was the youngest, helping you feed in clothes into a wrangler.
Yeah, but that was you do that first to get rid of the soapiness, because the water was boiled in a copper boiler.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it was rinse and rinse and rinse till it looked like it was clear. And then that's when the kids used to help. And it used to be outside. It was a mangle.
Yeah, I remember being outside.
And it was a great big green thing with great thick rollers, and you had to turn it round, which was quite hard. And the children used to like doing that. But if it was a shirt or anything with buttons, they were like pearl buttons on shirts, you had to put them all in your hand and just wind up to your hand and then back again, and then give it a shake.
And you hoped fingers didn't get stuck in.
Oh yeah, you had to be careful.
Yeah, but most of the women stayed at home. No, there were very few women working in the 60s.
No, there weren't. No, they didn't go to work.
And what was the fashion like?
Well, it was quite short skirts,
mini skirts, pencil skirts.
But they were sort of above the knee, quite about 4 inches above the knee. They weren't quite like the mini skirts. No, but they were shorter and a bit tight. And the shoes were horrendous. They had, there were 5 and some people said 6, but mine were 5
inches high
in a stiletto. Yeah, in a stiletto. And I used to push the pram out because Julie was still small. Julie was a baby, and I used to push them out, 4 in the pram.
So when you were walking with the stilettos, pushing this great big heavy pram,
I used to get stuck in the space between the
pavements.
The pavements, the slabs. Yeah, and going over a bridge. It was ridges that I used to get stuck in as well, but
it was torture.
Yeah.
And what happened to you at the post office one day? When you were with your stilettos and your mini tight skirt?
I told you about that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was in a queue, and the post. It was a young man that was in the post office, and somebody. I think I came to my turn. That's right. I remember that, and suddenly I felt somebody touching my bottom. So I didn't look round, and I went and stamped as hard as I could, and it was on his foot. It was Jim.
Her husband, my dad. He'd come home unexpectedly.
Yeah.
I never did that again.
No, never. Because I mean, it was very keen on that sort of thing then. You know, it was.
Yeah.
No, there was no. It was a bit Puritan at the time.
So you spent how many years at home child rearing?
Well, from start to finish, about 20 years at least.
Did you get any income?
No, they did eventually. The first one, you got 8 shillings.
A week?
a week.
Right.
Family, I think they call it family credit or something.
But
Yeah.
this is post-war, isn't it?
Oh yes,
This
yeah.
is to try and
Post-war.
populate the UK after the war.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the men died, and it was yeah, it was well, it was quite a sad time really. There was the Mary Quant started with the clothes,
Twiggy and
Twiggy and and people tried to cheer themselves up, and the fashion was Mary Quant. It was quite quite bright. I remember one of my high heels was orange.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they were orange. Yeah, I was. Yeah, and people started taking an interest in themselves as well.
After the gloom of the war.
Oh yeah, the rationing and everything. We're still rationed.
In the 60s? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, and the last thing to come off was sweets.
Sweets. And we never had any.
Well, yes, you did. Yes, you did. We had a tin.
Yeah.
And all the sweets, when I bought a few, but if ever the children were given a sweet, a wrapped up sweet, they used to bring it home and put it in the tin.
I'm sure we weren't that honest.
Oh no, you must have been quite oppressed. But you did know you
get the whip out.
You did know you had to bring it home.
Yeah, no, we did.
Because you were only allowed to eat one sweet after a meal.
Yeah.
That was the reason, yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back to the what the government paid women to have children after the war.
Oh, yes.
And into the 60s, 70s, free school dinners and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. But the first child, the family support was 8 shillings. And then the next one was 10 shillings. And the one after that was 10 shillings. So you did have quite a bit of help by the time you got 4.
Yeah, so you were able to stay at home, but women weren't working out of home then, were they?
No.
They were staying at home in child rearing.
That's right. Yeah,
women stayed at home.
But women stayed at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many years did you stay at home before you went on to a job?
I actually think it's about 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But during that time, the children were growing up. I went to further education, colleges.
Because you left school at 14.
Yeah, and I hadn't anything.
Yeah.
Only life
skills.
Story, life's teaching.
Yeah. So going back, you decided what career path did you want when we were growing up? Once we reached a certain age.
I thought, when I went I went to the school and said, "Can I help?" And the headmistress said, "No, go to this address or write to this address for an appointment, and the headmistress will speak to you. Tell her I sent you." So I did, and it was a college, and she said, "What did you plan to do?" She said, "This is a teacher training college." So I said, "Well, I've always wanted to be a teacher." So I said, "I would love to teach." So she said, "And what age group?" So I said, "Well, little ones, small ones." "Well, why do you want to do that?" I said, 4 in 5 years. She said, "That's enough. That will do. That's just what we're looking for."
Yeah.
So I did 3 years there.
Yeah.
And by that time, when I came out, I was ready for my first year of teaching, which was sort of watched. You know, it was probationary.
Probation, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't get your papers until there was.